Welcome to level 4, and this unit is all about the distributive property, and this is something that you may or may not remember from grade 8, and these equations would be in the form a times x plus b equals c. For example, and again, this is the idea where a, b, and c represent any integers. For example, the equation could be a could have a value of 3, b could have a value of positive 6, and c could have a value of 9. For another example, let's say a has a value of negative 2, x has a value of negative 5, so it'd be minus 5, and c has a value of negative 10. So there's a couple examples of this format. Okay, so in order to solve equations that involve the distributive property, you need to understand how to use the distributive property. And what that means is being able to rewrite an equation that has brackets without the brackets. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with the first question from the handout, and it is 4 times x plus 2 equals 20. So your first step, since you see we have here something inside brackets, we need to rewrite this without the brackets. So to do that, the distributive property means that we need to distribute this 4 inside the brackets by multiplying it with everything inside, or each term inside the brackets. And remember that terms are separated by plus or minus signs. So if we multiply 4 times x, we would get 4x. And if we multiply 4 times positive 2, we would get positive 8. And we know that equals 20. Now that we have a form of question like this is actually just like level 2, so this should be fairly easy for you now. So we're trying to get x by itself, so I'm going to first subtract 8 from both sides. Those cancel out, and you'd be left with 4x equals 20 minus 8, which is 12. And finally, to get rid of this 4, we would divide by 4 on both sides to cancel that out. And you'd be left with x equals 12 divided by 4, which is 3. And let's check our answer real quick here. If x was equal to 3, our equation up here would become 4 times 3 plus 2 instead of x plus 2. And I know that 3 plus 2 is the same thing as 5. And 4 times 5 is in fact 20, which is the answer we were going for. So we know that is the correct answer. Alright, let's give another one a shot. Let's go over here. Okay. Next up, I'll do question 8, and it is 2. Oh, sorry. I have to switch to the pen. 2 times x minus 1 equals negative 8. Okay. So again, first thing we need to do is rewrite this whole thing without the brackets. And to do that, we're going to distribute this number in front, the 2, and multiply it with each term inside the brackets. So 2 times x becomes 2x, and 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. Hopefully this kind of rings a bell from the polynomials unit, where if something is being subtracted, it's considered negative. So this is actually 2 times negative 1, which gets you negative 2. Alright, so we know this equals negative 8. Next, we're going to get rid of this constant by adding 2 to both sides, canceling that out, and we're left with 2x equals negative 8 plus 2, well, that's negative 6. Finally, we need to get rid of this 2 by dividing by 2, cancels those out, and we're left with x equals 6 divided by negative 6 divided by 2, and that's negative 3. Okay, I'm just going to check that answer real quick. So we had 2 times x minus 1. And I'm going to replace x with the solution we got, which was -3. Okay, so first I'll figure out -3 times, -3 minus 1 is -4. And if we do 2 times that, we would get -8. And so let's just double check, was that what we were supposed to get? Yes, it is. We wanted -8. So we did it properly. For the next one, I'll try one that has some more negative numbers in it. Let's go over here. How about question number 12? -3 times x plus 1 equals 12. Okay, so we're going to distribute this -3 inside these brackets by multiplying, and -3 times x is -3x. -3 times +1 is -3. So it'll be -3. And that equals 12. Okay, next I'm going to get rid of this -3 by adding it to both sides, canceling that out. And we're left with -3x equals 12 plus 3, that's 15. Last step, we need to get rid of this -3 by dividing by -3. That'll cancel these -3's out, and we get x equals 15 divided by -3, -5. Now I want to show really quickly another way of getting this same answer that might make more sense to you. We know, hang on a second, so -3 times x plus 1 equals 12. So a different way to get the answer is first actually to divide by -3 on both sides. And what that does is it gets rid of this -3 over here. And then what you write out, what you're left with is x plus 1 equals 12 divided by -3, and that's -4. This is actually a pretty simple equation now, where all we need to do is subtract 1 on both sides to get our answer. And you would get that x equals -4 minus 1, and that's -5. So that's another way of getting the same answer. If that makes more sense to you, then you're more than welcome to try it out. Alright, should we try one more? One of the toughest ones, let's go for it. Alright, how about question number 19? And it is -5 times x minus 6 equals -10. And you know what, I'm actually going to try that second method I just showed you first, so you can see how it's actually sometimes a bit quicker. So I want to get rid of this -5, and I'm going to do that by dividing -5 on both sides. So that'll cancel those out, and we'll be left with x minus 6 equals +2 because we have -5 or -10 divided by -5. Wow, this is actually a super simple equation now. X minus 6 equals 2. X is obviously 8. If we added 6 to both sides, you could see that. So x equals 8. So that was a much faster way of getting the answer. Alternatively, we could have done the distributive property, where we would multiply, oh, can't really see that, multiply this -5 inside here, and you would get -5x, and then -5 times -6 is +30, equals -10. And then from there you would minus 30 from both sides, canceling those out, and -10 minus 30 is -40. And then your last step would be to divide by -5, divide by -5, cancels those out, and you're left with x equals +8. Is that what I got before? Yes, it is. Okay. Sorry, I was doubting myself. Okay, so that's it for the distributive property. Definitely take some practice, so when you think you're ready, go ahead and challenge that level.